For the past decade or so, we've heard one thing over and over. The future of money is crypto. But what if that whole conversation was just a distraction? Today, we're diving into a really different idea. The real revolution in payments, it might not be about the blockchain at all. It might just be about artificial intelligence.
I mean, this was the question, right? It launched 1,000 startups. It was all over the financial news for years. The story was so simple, so compelling, a decentralized rebellion against the old guard of finance. It was an awesome story, but was it the right one?
Well, according to the analysis we're looking at, asking that question was a huge mistake. By focusing so much on crypto, we were basically looking for the future in completely the wrong place. And you know where that led us? Pretty much down a dead end.
Okay, so let's hit pause and back up a bit. If the big fight isn't really crypto versus old school money, then what's the real question we should be asking about where payments are headed?
And here's the big pivot. The truly game-changing question isn't about who controls the money, it's about what controls it. So, just for a second, forget decentralization. Instead, try to imagine a currency that can actually think. A system that's run not by a bunch of static rules and code, but by active learning intelligence. But, before we jump into that AI-powered future, we really need to get our heads around why crypto, with all that massive hype, never actually became the everyday payment system it was promised to be.
Let's be real. After more than a decade, you still can't just casually buy your groceries with crypto. And the numbers don't lie. Projections show that even by 2025, less than 5% of merchants around the world would accept it. For something that was supposed to be a payments revolution, that's a pretty massive failure to launch.
And then you've got the speed problem. Or, well, the lack of speed, I should say. Waiting 10 minutes for your coffee payment to go through? That's not just annoying, it's a total deal breaker. The tech just wasn't built for the pace of how we buy things today.
But honestly, the fatal flaw? It's the volatility. Money has to be stable, right? If the price of your morning coffee can jump around by 12% before you even get to lunch, it's not a reliable currency anymore. It's just a risky gamble for both you and the shop owner.
All of this leads to a pretty crucial realization. Maybe we were just judging crypto by the wrong standard. Look, it wasn't a failure. It just succeeded at something different. Not as a payment network, but as a totally new kind of digital asset. One that's perfect for speculation and this radical new idea of ownership. It's a different tool for a totally different job.
Okay, so if crypto isn't the answer for payments, then what is? This is where we get into a whole new category. We're talking about money built not on a blockchain, but on a centralized layer of pure intelligence.
Now, this is way more than just having a chatbot approve your purchase. Think of it like this. Most payment systems today are like old software, and they've just kind of bolted on fraud detection as an afterthought. An AI-governed currency? That's a brand new operating system, where intelligence is baked into the very core of every single transaction from the start.
And the benefits you get from that? They're huge. Just take compliance, for example. Instead of it being this slow, manual headache, it becomes a live, totally automated thing happening inside every transaction. Or think about fraud detection. It's not based on some static set of rules anymore. It's a system that's constantly learning and adapting to new threats in real time. It's a total game changer.
So, this all sounds like a pretty powerful theory, right? But what does it actually look like in the real world? Let's take a look at a case study. There's a platform called KAELUM, and it's being presented as the very first working example of this whole new category.
Now, to really get this model, you have to understand one key difference. With crypto, the value comes from holding it, right? You speculate on it. But with a commerce currency like the one KAELUM uses, the value comes from actually spending it inside its ecosystem. Two totally different purposes.
And this chart really lays out the differences in their DNA. The biggest one, the most critical one, is volatility. See, KAELUM has a fixed floor price, which completely gets rid of the risk for merchants. And how is that possible? Well, it's because it operates as a closed-loop system. You can think of it kind of like a digital gift card network. That simple fact makes regulations way easier, and this is the best part for users. It lets the system offer a guaranteed discount every single time you use it.
Yeah, this closed-loop system is really the secret sauce that makes the whole thing work. Because you can't just pull the currency out and speculate on it, the system can keep the price stable. It's one single design choice, but it completely solves that volatility problem that crypto has, and it keeps the focus 100% on just buying stuff.
And right at the heart of all this is the AI. It's called KTE, and it's basically the brain of the whole operation. It does way more than just process payments. We're talking about handling super complex compliance checks, like anti-money laundering and all that KYC stuff, but it does it in real time. It's always learning, always making the network more secure, and it even manages a rewards reserve for both the merchants and the customers.
Okay, let's zoom out for a second. A system like this, it doesn't just exist in a bubble, right? The big question is, does the market actually want something like this? Well, the argument is that, yeah, the global payments industry is already desperately looking for an alternative to how things are done right now.
Just look at Europe, for instance. There's this huge push to find alternatives to the big card networks that dominate everything. But the official solutions? They're moving at a snail's pace. A unified payment system for merchants isn't even expected until 2027, and a full-on digital euro? Well, that's probably not happening until 2029, maybe even later.
So what does that do? It creates this massive window of opportunity. The market is hungry for a solution now, but the big institutional players won't be ready for years. And the argument here is that a platform like KAELUM, which is already up and running, can step right into that gap.
And this quote, man, it really just nails it. For decades, fintech has mostly been about putting a shiny new app on top of ancient financial plumbing. This is about building something totally new from the ground up, where intelligence isn't some feature you add on later, it is the architecture.
So the ultimate takeaway here is this. The whole debate about crypto versus traditional money, it's over. Not because one side won, but because it was the wrong debate all along. The next era of payments, it's going to be defined by intelligence. And that leaves us with one last really critical question. It's not a matter of if this future is coming, it's a matter of who is going to be in the room when it gets built.